Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Tonight's story is from the incredible mind of plant lover Blue over on Reddit's No Sleep. As ever, please do let us know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help with the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid crew. And so, with that aside, let's get into tonight's story. Entitled, There's Something Lurking in the Ponds of Florida. Let's get straight into that. June 4th, 2021. I don't like the state of Florida, and I will never travel there again. But there is a reason why I don't like it. Me and my family were going there for a vacation, something you consider a nice getaway. Not in this case. The plane ride felt like an eternity, and when we finally landed, the airport was chaotic. More chaotic than most airports. We escaped the airport swarming with people rushing around. We surprisingly managed to get to the place we were staying at without being sucked into the chaos, and it was midday by then. After unwinding for a bit, I decided to explore the area around the place. I walked around the nearby pond. The sound of cicadas was booming. The time flew by and the sun was already starting to set. I wouldn't want to get so lost, so I started heading back. But as I was about to turn away from the small pond, something caught my eye. Movement. I am familiar with the fact that alligators lurk here, but unlike the smooth, effortless swimming of a gator, this thing moved in jagged and irregular motions, the dark spots slowly getting smaller and smaller with each movement. I thought nothing of it and headed back. And the night was pretty uneventful after that. We ate dinner and eventually parted ways to our bedrooms for the night. As I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a loud dunking noise coming from outside. I got up to look out the window, and there was nothing out there. But then something tripped the motion light. When that happened, I saw hundreds of gleaming dots in the pond. I was amazed. What kind of fish could do this? But then the question creeped up on me. Were those eyes? I got a chill down my spine at the thought of that. The floodlight turned off, submerging everything into darkness, and I was then alone with my thoughts. I pondered the sight I saw for a while. I must have fallen asleep because the next thing I remember was the morning light beaming through the window. I was going to tell my family about what I saw last night, but then I realized they probably wouldn't believe me, and so for the time being, I kept it a secret. Not much happened the next few days. We relaxed, checked out the local attractions, all the usual vacation activities. The last day went on slowly, and so we decided to go to the pool. It was nice to relax in the water after being in that hot, humid climate, but the whole time we were there, I couldn't shake the memory of what I saw a couple of nights before. I needed to stop thinking about it before I drove myself crazy. I decided to swim around some more so I wasn't just sitting on a tube with my thoughts. Later we were driving to our place, and I was looking out the window at all the bodies of water, and they were everywhere. Were there glowing spots in there too? I thought. We got back to our place and the sun drifted downwards, and before I knew it, it was dark out. We all went to bed earlier since our flight was early in the morning, and being well rested would be a good idea. I went into my room and eventually I fell asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night. I couldn't find a reason why I was awoken. I got up because our flight was in a couple of hours, and so I figured I'd just stay up. I sat up, and that was when I noticed something was different. Instead of the noises of frogs and crickets coming from outside, I was greeted with silence. I mean, deafening silence. You could hear a pin drop from a mile away. The silence was broken by the noise of water moving, and I shifted my eyes to the pond. The water was still, dark in colour. There wasn't much going on in there. But then I noticed something movement, that same jerky movement I'd saw a few days before. I froze up when I saw a black, gaunt hand slither onto the shore. And slowly I saw a creature emerge. It seemed endless. Long, lanky body was now out of the water. Its legs were thin. You could snap them in half if you wanted to. The inky black creature stood up, and it towered over the shore. If I had to guess, I would say it was at least 9 feet tall. And now all I could hear was a gargled wheezing. It moved in a struggling limp as if both of its legs were twisted backwards. I wanted to move away from the window, but I couldn't. It was as if I was paralyzed, locked in my stance. And it looked up at me. Its eyes were a milky white. Its face looked as if it were rotten. Skin was missing. And its mouth, hanging ajar, was filled with chipped teeth. When it noticed me, it hurried its pace, still moving like a marionette with broken strings, still wheezing as if it were in immense pain. I would have screamed, but my throat felt as if it were parched. Before it could continue, the motion sensor tripped and the lights flared on. The creature let out a screech and shot back to the pond with a speed I didn't know it was capable of. When it joined the pond, it was once more full of gleaming spots. I don't know if it was the shock or the fact that I held my breath through the whole occurrence, but it passed out. I was awoken by my mother. I frantically got up and started spewing gibberish. My mum tried to calm me down. It was just a nightmare, and I thought about it. Is that all it was? Just a nightmare? It couldn't have been. The way I felt at that time was too real to be a nightmare. I'm writing this now on the airplane to go home. I don't know if it's still following me. I can't upload this until we land, and I'll see you on the other side. I hope. July 9th, 2021. Update. I made it home safely, but I barricaded myself in my room. I live alone, so no one can bother me. For the past few nights, being home, I've been sleepless. When I do manage to get some sleep, I'm plagued by nightmares of that thing getting to me. I don't know if I'm crazy or if this thing is tormenting me. I'm going to try and get some sleep. I'll update soon. June 11th, 2021. Update number 2. It's here. I can hear it in my apartment. It somehow managed to break down my front door. I can hear the wheezing along with the crashing and snapping. I saw many more of those things in the pond. I hope my story is able to upload so that everyone will know. Whatever you do, don't go to Florida in the summer. It lurks beneath your bridges, too. My first encounter. Let's get straight into that. It was a beautiful midsummer evening when I first encountered the creature. The grass was green. The twilight sky was alight with divine fire. The people walking through the city streets and then down the walking trails seemed happy, content. They smiled at me as they passed with their wives, children, dogs, and I forced myself to smile back. It is astonishing how much a smile can hide. My grandmother had just passed, and I was walking in an attempt to settle myself. My hope was that a long trek would help me burn off some of the excess energy, that by exhausting my body, I could dull the knives in my mind. But as I neared the river valley, having walked already for over an hour, I felt no calmer or more in control than what I had when I first left the hospital. Or if anything, I felt worse. Everything around me seemed alien and strange. The lovely green trees looked like overgrown weeds, noxious, greedy, relentlessly choking out their neighbours. The people I saw seemed sometimes like predatory animals, other times like soulless automata. My own body felt like it belonged to someone else. I could move it and look through its eyes, of course, but it did not belong to me. The whole world felt like an uncanny dream, insubstantial and slightly perverse. This waking nightmare of alienation only worsened as I drew closer to the valley. When I finally arrived and peered down the craggy slopes of the wide river, whose dark waters slithered slowly forward like a mythological snake, my mind was on fire and my body was numb. I was a walking panic attack. I briefly considered clambering down the steep bank to work up a sweat. Surely that would tether my mind and body together again. Surely that would brighten the dark thoughts that raced like a marathon of shadows through my mind. But the sun was near setting, and I did not want to be lost in the valley when the last light of day disappeared. And so I scanned for a new destination, spotted the old bridge that straddles the valley, and set off. Many cities have a notorious bridge, one that spans a chasm of river or underpass at a precipitous height, one about which legends emerge and circulate because of all the jumpers. Some speak of hauntings and curses. Others, more pragmatically, talk of brain chemistry and the accessibility of the locale. Most choose not to say anything at all. They pretend no problem exists. The tragedy is those who know the truth often fall victim before they can pass on their knowledge. Either that or they are shamed into silence by people unwilling or unable to understand. As soon as I set foot on the old bridge, our city's primary platform for desperate jumpers, I heard it. A gentle hum, so slight at first as to be almost imperceptible. I sensed it was coming from before me and below me. It grew slightly louder with every step that I took. It was definitely coming from the river, yet I also felt as if it were coming from a place below the river, beyond the river, almost from a place beyond time and being. The hum was dark and low, hopeless and inhuman. It was also hypnotic and soothing. It gave me a peculiar feeling of dangerous calm, like the feeling of taking a strong sedative or two while inside the cabin of a sinking ship. As I walked along the bridge, listening to the hum, settling into the feeling, I noticed the last embers of daylight die. The stars winked through the darkening firmament. The hum seemed at one with the approaching night. I paused where the sound was loudest, in the middle of the bridge. I leaned over the handrail and squinted at the dark waters, hundreds of feet below, trying to locate the source of the sound in the serpentine river of shadows. A pair of giant, lidless eyeballs bulged above the surface of the water. Glowing white spheres covered the webbings of thin, red veins. They had no pupils or irises. They were blank and uncanny, like the eyes of those creatures who descended from the sunlit realms into chasms and caves millions of years ago, and evolved over time beyond the need for sight, but kept their useless, vestigial eyes. I knew in an instant that the eyes could not see me. I knew that the creature was blind. I also knew that the horrible gape below its eyes, a wide, grotesque mouth opening onto a void blacker than black, was the source of the strange hum. I was mesmerized by the abominable entity, its glowing white eyes, its chapped lips and leathery skin, the unworldly sound that came from the abyssal void of its gullet. I strained my ears to hear clearer. I leaned over the handrail to get a better look, and I felt like I was gazing upon some dark and forbidden love, like I was on the cusp of Satan, some deep and mysterious desire. If only I could be closer. And the creature drew me closer. The hum seemed to hold answers to all of my questions. The eyes seemed to promise me unlimited comfort and peace, yet I knew that I would never be granted those answers or promises from all the way up on the bridge. The only way to reach fulfillment and truth was to jump into the creature's maw. It would be quick and painless, and then it would be lovely. I would join the creature in the calm of eternal silence, together with the void and its hum, in the loving embrace of eternal night. A jolt of anxiety shot through me like lightning. Those thoughts were not mine. They were coming from outside. Somehow, the creature was invading my mind, infiltrating my soul and turning me against myself. Was it the stare or the hum, or the mere proximity of the creature? I could not decide. But I also could not stop listening, nor could I peel my eyes away. I could not move as I felt its dark tendrils worming into my brain, insinuating themselves alongside my neurons, tainting my senses and thoughts, and taking control. My true body was frozen in place as I watched a reel of hallucinations projected before my eyes. I saw my body carefully climb over the railing, balance on the edge, and then hop off. I saw my body sway violently back and forth until it launched headlong off the bridge. I saw my body turn and look at me with blank white eyes and a mischievous smile, before lifting a leg up over the railing, and then the other, and then letting go, falling backwards off the bridge and down towards oblivion. I was so caught up in his intrusive visions that I did not notice the man who had crept up beside me, did not hear him climb onto the roof of the bridge, did not hear him shuffle around above me and sigh. I was shocked then to see him suddenly fall into my field of vision, as if he had slipped through a tear in the fabric of night. I watched him plummet towards the creature's yawn, his arms outspread, silent save for his loose suit jacket flapping in the wind behind him. On instinct, I turned and sprinted to the end of the bridge and onto the street. The night was quiet. The hum, I had it stopped. All I could hear was my hammering heart. Yet wherever I looked, I could still see the blind and bloodshot eyes gazing back at me. And I could still feel the dark and alien tendrils squirming in my brain, sending out roots and settling in. Wow. Short but absolutely intriguing story there from the incredible mind of Chris Hosker over on Reddit No Sleep. Big thank you, Chris, for allowing me to narrate your incredible work on the show. I really did enjoy this intriguing story and certainly look forward to more of your work in the future. Well, guys and girls, another one bites the dust. As ever, please do let me know what you thought down below in the comments box. Please do like and share. It really does help build the channel and our community further. And why not hashtag TeamFEAR and DMT's Cryptid Crew. If you're an aspiring writer or would just like to have a crack at things like myself, then please do get in touch with me at the brand new contact email, which is, as on screen, contactthedeadone@gmail.com. I really look forward to hearing from you. I hope everybody's had a fantastic week at work so far, or school, or perhaps you're a long distance driver. Whatever it is that you do, I hope you're enjoying it and getting stuck in. But above all, guys, remember, be safe, not sorry.